Imagine a bustling galactic trade hub, a central clearinghouse monitoring the constant flow of imports and exports across thousands of freight lanes. Suddenly, a single planet triggers a system-wide red alert. They are running a severe current account deficit. This means the value of the goods they import far exceeds the value of the goods they are exporting, causing a massive outflow of their currency. The immediate common sense reaction is panic. If a household spends more money than it brings in, it goes broke. It looks like this planet is living recklessly beyond its means, heading straight for economic collapse. But a planetary economy does not operate like a personal checking account. A massive negative balance on the trade ledger is not an automatic death sentence. To understand if a planet is actually in danger, we have to look past the top-line number. We need to open the trade logs and diagnose exactly why that money is leaving. Let's investigate Planet Alpha. Right now, their domestic economy is rapidly expanding, undergoing a truly massive industrial boom. To fuel this growth, they need raw materials and heavy machinery, often called capital goods, that they simply don't produce at home. So they are importing massive physical payloads of equipment from other solar systems. Economists call this situation a cyclical deficit. The heavy outflow of currency is a direct symptom of their own domestic economic growth, rather than a failure of their industries. All of that imported machinery has a specific purpose. Once those factories are built, Alpha will use them to manufacture new goods, which they will then export back into the galactic market to balance the scale. Because this cyclical deficit is essentially an investment in future export dominance, it naturally corrects itself over time. It is a sign of ambition, not financial ruin. Now, compare that to Planet Beta. Their education systems are underfunded, investment is low, and their factories are painfully sluggish. Beta is suffering from a structural deficit. The products they make locally are too expensive and too low in quality to compete with anything else on the galactic market. When nobody wants to buy their exports, Beta's factories are forced to cut production and lay off workers. This creates severe cyclical unemployment, which shrinks aggregate demand and slows the entire domestic economy to a crawl. This graph shows the supply and demand for Beta's money. Because nobody buys Beta's exports, demand for their currency falls sharply. Simultaneously, Beta must buy imports, oversupplying their currency, causing their exchange rate to plummet. With a badly weakened currency, purchasing power evaporates. Suddenly, the essential things Beta must import to survive, like interplanetary fuel and basic food supplies, become wildly expensive, triggering a massive wave of imported inflation. Uncompetitive industries destroy jobs, wrecking the value of the currency and driving living costs through the roof. How do you save an economy suffering from a structural deficit without completely isolating them from interplanetary trade? One highly effective policy solution is actually to cut corporate taxes. Lowering the tax burden makes the planet an attractive destination for foreign direct investment. It gives local businesses the capital they need to upgrade their technology, improve worker training, and significantly lower their production costs. Equipped with better technology and lower overhead, the local economy becomes competitive again. As the quality of their exports rises and prices fall, the structural deficit begins to close. When assessing either of these planets, we have to account for the scale of the trade. An outflow of 100 billion credits is useless as an isolated number. To understand the true threat level, economists always measure a current account deficit as a percentage of the total gross domestic product, or GDP. 100 billion credit loss might entirely consume a small planetary economy, while barely registering as a fraction of a percent for a galactic superpower. A trade deficit is a powerful diagnostic tool. By tracing exactly why the money leaves and measuring the true scale of the loss, we can map out the future of any economy in the galaxy.